Tell me, where are we going today?
I have an amazing surprise for you today.
Uh-huh.
We're going to the Blue Hole. Yes. But you know, some people don't really like dive. They don't want to snorkel, or maybe they don't have the time to do it. So, Tropic give we the perfect solution to that.
They offer a tour
Right.
to the Blue Hole.
Exactly.
Daily. Wow.
Daily.
Can't wait.
And you know, it's an hour long. We get to see so many creatures from up above, and we get to really get to appreciate the Blue Hole.
And I think it's better than diving, because when you're diving, you're in the water. You can't see the blue. But from above, you're gonna see the grandeur of this Blue Hole.
Well, I'm ready. You ready?
I'm ready. So
Let's go.
back we go.
Thank you, Sean. Hi, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to TropicAir Belize City Municipal.
Thank you.
These will be your boarding passes.
Thank
Aqua,
you.
and also map of the Blue Hole. We do hope you enjoy your flight. Here's your pilot, Mr. Jose.
Mr. Jose.
Thank you.
Welcome. Hey, hello.
Nice to meet you.
Nice
Sean.
to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you, Jer.
Okay, I'm gonna be giving you guys more details about the tour, so you can follow me here.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's gonna be approximately an hour and 20 minutes Blue Hole tour, right? I'll be showing you guys where we're going, and so we're here in Belize City. We're gonna be departing here, and we're gonna fly by Kikaker, okay?
Okay.
You're gonna be able to see the Barrier Reef, you know, the second largest barrier reef in the world. And it's gonna be Kikaker. We're gonna pass by St. George's Key, Kikaker, and then we'll fly direct to the Blue Hole.
Okay.
Reaching to the Blue Hole, we're gonna be maintaining 1,000 feet and 500 feet, right? Making some right turns and left turns. Farther, we're gonna go to Shipwreck, which is a boat, right? Which is from 1950. Okay.
1950.
Yeah, 1950. From here, Shipwreck, we're gonna fly straight to San Pedro, and that's gonna be it.
So, what type of aircraft are we gonna be going on today?
Okay, in TropicAir we have 3 different types of aircraft, which the first one is a Cessna Caravan, is a 14-seater, and we have 14 in the fleet. There is a Airvan GA8, it's a 7-seater, it's only one. And the 2 182 airplanes is a 3-seater. It depends on how many passengers we have. And you know, if it's just 2 passengers, we're going to send the small one. It depends on the aircraft plane.
So, a total of 14 people can go on this tour at a time.
Yeah, well, it depends too on the window, because you have to sit by the
You
window.
want to have a good view.
Yeah, so that you can be able
Right.
to see the Blue Hole. Yeah.
And how the altitude?
Okay, we're gonna be flying from Belize, Kikaker, Blue Hole, maybe 1,000 feet.
1,000.
Yeah, and then in the Blue Hole we're gonna be maintaining 1,500 feet.
So we should see some marine life too.
Yeah, you're gonna be able to see it.
Well, I can't wait, Jer.
I know.
Okay, good afternoon guys, welcome aboard TropicAir's flight 2 Blue Hole tour. Seatbelts please. In case of an emergency, we have 3 emergency exits. This 2 at the front and 1 at the back, and also we have a life raft way at the back in case of an emergency. Seatbelts at all times please.
Yes, man, everything was great.
Excellent, excellent. Had a wonderful day.
Yes, absolutely.
Hello, come in.
Hi.
Hi, good morning.
Johnny Grief, pleased
Jerry
to meet
Sosa,
you.
nice to meet you.
Sean.
Johnny Grief, pleased to meet you, Sean.
All right.
Have a seat, make yourselves at
Thank
home.
you very
Mi casa,
much.
su casa.
Oh, muchas gracias.
Wow. Español.
Some French intro?
Español.
So, Mr. Grief, we're here with you at Tropics offices in San Pedro, and I can say that we've heard that you're the entrepreneur, or you're the pioneers of.
That makes me sound old. But I'll take it.
I'm sorry, I'm only 26, so I have to say I heard that you guys are pioneers in aviation in Belize. Can you tell us a little bit more about this?
Well, my dad came to Belize on a flying job in the 50s. And the story goes, you know how hard it is, especially as time goes on, to separate fact from fiction. But the story goes that the first woman he met was my mom, who was working for a lumber company, because that was the trade in those days, was working for a lumber company. And he introduced himself to her, and she wouldn't have anything to do with him. And finally, he borrowed a seaplane from a friend of his, flew to San Pedro, got permission from my grandmother, and started dating my mom. So they moved. I'm leaving out a whole lot in the interest of time. They got married, moved to the States. Myself and my sister were born, and then Mom got terribly homesick when I was about 5. We all came back to Belize on vacation, and Dad fell in love and literally never left. Called back, said, sell the house, sell the car, I quit my job. He saw San Pedro where it is today in the 50s. And him and Mom started a hotel with the proceeds they got from selling their house. As far as I know, it was the only tourism hotel in the country, and certainly the only hotel in San Pedro.
Wow.
But then he found out that American tourists, like the song says, get there fast and then you take it slow, wouldn't put up with a 6-hour sailboat ride, which was the only way to get here, or the freight boat. So having been a military aviator, he bought an airplane and through a bunch of crazy machinations. Half the time he had to spray bananas to pay the rent, and the rest of the time he could use it for whatever he wanted. Started ferrying passengers back and forth, and that's how the Griefs got started in aviation. Mom and Dad split up when I was about 13, and Dad took the airline and Mom took the hotel, and then Dad had so much Macoby he couldn't run the airline. This is all just between us.
This is what Belizean women do.
So he got out of the aviation business, and then I'd had a little bit of a bite from the aviation bug. So when I got out of high school, I went to Texas A&M and studied aerospace engineering. Wow. Well, it turns out aerospace engineering really doesn't have too much to do with airplanes, and after 2 years, I graduated myself out of that program and came home. Wanted to be a boat captain. I still love the sea very much. And, I'm not positive I made the right choice, but instead of Marine, I chose aviation and got a lot of support from the local community from both of my parents. And that was in November of '79, and Tropic has just grown by Belizean standards, certainly probably not by first world standards, but by Belizean standards, we've grown by leaps and bounds ever since. We now have 20 aircraft. We moved 300,000 people last year, fly to 16 destinations, I think 13 locally and 3 internationally, and have enabled tourism and commuter type business aviation throughout the whole country. Everywhere there's a town and an airstrip, we have scheduled service at least twice a day.
And that's not only excellent because it's Belizean run, but we can get wherever we need to get, and very quickly.
So with that first thing, so do you have the pilots are mostly Belizeans?
All Belizeans.
All
Matter of
Belizeans.
fact, a lot of them are San Pedranos.
Really? So
You know how the San Pedranos go. They're not Belizeans, right?
And we just finished off an excellent tour of the Blue Hole.
Oh, yes.
How did this tour get started? Because, I mean, I loved it. I certainly
course.
would love to do it again.
I'm sure our Belizeans could experience
Yes.
it.
Well, that we do too, and we're actually thinking about a Belizean rate in the off season, or 2 or 3 Belizeans show up for a flight that's booked, and if there are no seats, we send them at a discounted or even for free. We'd very much like to share that experience with Belizeans, who a lot of us can't be tourists in our own country. About 10 years ago, I decided, because I was a diver when I was a teenager, I got out of it when I got into aviation. But it was so beautiful, and flying out there myself on doing the occasional, very, very occasional tour that some tourist would rent the whole airplane to go see it, I thought how beautiful this is. And it would even help, I think, people that had dove it, because you could dive it, but you don't get any perspective on it. So
Yes.
then
Exactly.
So we spent tens of thousands of dollars with special airplanes, with special windows. We had a Belizean marine biologist do a narrative. We had Jackie Woods narrate it. We didn't spare any expense, and it was a complete and total failure. If we sold 3 tickets, it was a lot, because we were trying to do it on a schedule so someone wouldn't have to rent the whole airplane.
Right.
Well, I forgot about it, and then about 3 years ago, maybe, Julie Key, who was our director of sales at the time, and my son Gary Grief, who is unfortunately a politician now, came up with the idea, and they said, "Can we run with it?" And they ran with it, and they were selling 3-seat charters, and they were selling a lot of them. So I reluctantly, because I already knew it all, right? I reluctantly got talked into trying the seat-by-seat basis, which we take a chance on. So if we put on a Blue Hole tour at 11 o'clock and we only sell 1 seat, we feel honor-bound to do it and, lose a lot of money.
Yeah.
So we did it, and it was an instant success. And we went from 1 flight to 2 flights to San Pedro and Key Calker, to San Pedro, Key Calker, Belize City, to the cruise ships. We tried Placencia, but all the planes are based in San Pedro, and there's so much expense getting the plane all the way to Placencia and then all the way back that it was too expensive. But we're still working on Placencia. But anyway, it's been just a fantastic success, and we literally haven't had 1 single complaint on it. We've probably moved, 1,000 people.
Yeah, you can't have a complete ban, and especially for a Belizean.
That's overwhelming.
The energetic feeling you get when you see this. I mean, like you said, from diving it, you don't get the perspective.
No.
You're in water, you
No,
don't.
no,
It's blue below you, but from the air, you see the actual.
It really is, as you saw, spherical, and it's the color gradients. It's just
It's breathtaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And beside the Blue Hole, the tour actually takes you to two atolls. You
Yes,
pass over atolls.
yes.
You see the
Shipwreck.
cruise. Tell me about that. The shipwreck.
Well, I don't know.
You don't know?
That I should know about it, but it's been there. I mean, I met it there in aviation, so it's been there at least 40 years.
Wow.
But there's 4 atolls in the Atlantic, and on our tour you see 3 of them.
Yes. In Belize, we
Yeah.
have 3. 1 more in Mexico.
Right? Yeah.
So that's impressive. Again.
It's Scorpion, I think. Scorpion Atoll.
And throughout these 40 years, you're celebrating 40 years, right?
Yes,
In aviation.
40 years. That makes me significantly older than
I can't
40.
see your gray hair, sir. I don't see no gray hair. But
You're safe by those standards. But in these 40 years, what has been your greatest achievement?
I think just the totality of it, the fact that we can provide safe, reliable transportation from Coruscant. You can literally, a businessman can get on a plane in Coruscant and go to PG and do business and get back home in time for supper. And that was part of my vision when I started Tropic, and I'm proud to say that we can do that now. The tourism aspect is a little easier because all the tourists come into Belize International Airport. About 80% of them come to San Pedro, and the other 20% go to Placencia. So we just kind of have to put the planes there and just shuttle back and forth. But I guess to answer your question again, it's the totality of what we've managed to do over the years. And it was, there were a lot of challenges, and it took 40 years, or at least 30, to get to where we are now.
so what's the major challenges?
Educating people and politicians that aviation isn't a rich man's game, that it's all about time and time is money. Because the Latino attitude on time. Hay más tiempo que vida. But they turn that around the other way. There's a lot more time than there is life, so you can waste it. I say, well, if there's more time than life, then I need to, manage the time I have well. Corrosion is a big problem. The beautiful reef that we have, waves hit that reef and vaporize, and then the prevailing wind carries it over San Pedro, and everything out here.
And this is your hub, so it's here.
So it's our maintenance base as well. So, and that has caused us to have to take unusual steps to wash the inside. Believe it or not, the insides of the turbine engines rust. We have to wash them. The planes, instead of getting looked at, a commercial airplane goes out and works for a month and then comes back and gets maintained. Well, we look at our planes every night or every other night or every third night at the most, and there's actually a schedule to do that. So the corrosion is a big challenge from a technical maintenance point of view.
And what advice would you give to entrepreneurs, to young people who are trying to start out a business? Because you started out very young, and
19.
it's a very successful business, but you're telling us about the challenges, the hard work that you put in, different things that you had to give up to get to this point.
Two things. Find something you love and then do it. I don't care what it is. You're going to be successful at it. The Chinese say that if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And I've worked very, very few days in my life. And the second is, do not give up. The difference between success and failure is so small sometimes it's immeasurable. There were a lot of times when I've thought I'd failed, when I'd looked at the window and the mirror shaving in the morning. How am I going to pay the gas bill today? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? But you just don't give up. And you make it. You persevere. As long as you had a good idea in the first place, or a half-decent idea. If you start out with a bad idea, there's really nowhere to go from that. So do what you want and don't give up.
So, Mr. Grief, how does Belizean domestic aviation compare to aviation in the region?
That's a good question. There's really no comparison. Belize has probably got 10, 15, 20 times per capita the number of flights in the aviation. In Guyana, for instance, the government has to subsidize domestic aviation so people can move around, because the country, not unlike Belize, has got such a poor road system. And in Belize, not only is it not subsidized, it's a tax generator for the government. But there are probably, industry-wide, there are probably 400 flights a day in a country that's only 200 miles long and 60 miles wide. I mean, it's shocking. And the international air traffic that we have in Belize is huge too, with Continental American, United, Delta, Southwest. I mean, it's so from an aviation point of view, us Belizeans, taking off my Tropic hat and putting on my commuter hat, are very, very fortunate. And it's not just Tropic, like I said, it's the whole industry.
Excellent. That's so great to hear.
That's impressive. So here on the show, we like to offer the experience that we just had. I mean, we don't have words to describe what we just had. So, can you think we could give some Belizean that experience?
Absolutely. We'll give a couple of free Blue Hole tour anytime they want, and it's Tropic would like to be able for all Belizeans to share that experience. So we're actually trying to come up with a way to offer those tickets discounted to Belizeans, or maybe have a standby system where Belizeans put their name and they show up, and then if there's an empty space, they can go for free something. Because as you just saw, it really is breathtaking, and words really can't describe it, and the videos really don't describe it. You really have to see it. We've probably, in the past 2 or 3 years, taken 1,000 people on Blue Hole tours without one single complaint. Even Tropic hasn't been able to mess that up.
Well, I'm excited to hear that, and I'm glad that some of our viewers will be able to experience
How
this.
they get it? They have to comment, right?
Well, yes, of course, you have to make sure you tune in.
Because these things, like, I would comment myself to want to come back.
No, but you can't, Sean. That wouldn't be fair. As usual, you just have to comment and share our videos, and make sure you tune in every Thursday at 8 p.m.
And with that, we shall say,
Belize,
Make we go!